And we are finally on the last tutorial, the third one, the one where you just have to watch and you just don't have to do what I do and you can just relax finally. And me too, because I'm not worried about having to show you everything. I'm sure it'll be something, but the purpose of this one is just mostly going to be to show you what you can do with the material, and I'm personally going to be recreating something like the chapter 6 landscape material. You shouldn't expect it to be one-to-one, because the truth is, if you want a one-to-one material, then you've come to the wrong place. The purpose of this one has been to be mainly based on, like, the base material is just the chapter 2 one, and then it's like a hybrid of the chapter 2 and chapter 3 materials, and then you can modify it as much as you want and come up with your own unique style. Now, I don't know if some of you watching have already tried out the customizable landscape material that comes in UEFN. Okay, so I'm gonna give Epic some credit. It's not terrible. It's not like, it's not bad. That's so good. That's like pretty good. But you have no foliage. You have no control over the material logic. You don't have control over adding new paints, and it's quite limiting. So first of all, I'm going to open the material instance for my material. Just this one. Let's go over the parameters. All right. So there's a lot of them. I'm going to minimize all of these. I think that should be it. Okay. Let's begin with cliff textures. So cliff textures is quite intuitive, isn't it? All I have to do is just go Hermes, cliff. You're probably noticing that my material on the cliffs is really shiny. Now, that's because we need to turn on this switch over here. Once I put this on, you can now see that it's fixed, but I still recommend you mess with these to achieve like a very like rocky texture. So let me have the sunshine down on these like that. That's pretty good. And I want it to be slightly more shiny like that. I like that. I really like how rocky. Yeah, look at that. It looks pretty good. It's like very sharp. I'm going to change the scale of them a little bit. Say I want this to be half, and then this will be 2000, 3000, 3000, 2500. Okay, I like that. It's very good actually. And I can also change the detail UVs, which you're gonna be able to see as I move this, that something is changing. There is a texture that is being overlaid over the final result. Now, since the chapter 6 clips already have quite a lot of detail on them when you're up close, I don't know if I really have to make it smaller or anything. Let's check 512. Oh, that's pretty nice actually. It's pretty consistent. Guess I'll go with that. I'm personally, I probably wouldn't make a map like this because I don't really like this like more detailed noisy style, but you can do it if you want. For now, I'm done with this, so I'll just move on. This is to change the color of the black pepito layer. If I go over here and I find this, just add it, select it, and paint. As you can see, it's a different color. I recommend using biomasks instead of paints, but you can also just use that if you'd like. We have the cliff function. Now this is where it gets intense. There's a lot going on here. First parameter, quite a big deal. We can make our blending be the chapter 3 style blending instead of the chapter 2 style blending. You will very quickly see what's different about that. Now you can also see that my textures have changed because they use their own parameters. So let's very quickly just reset them, and I can also change how much this tree blends. So for example, if I make this 2, it increases the intensity of the height. For now, I'm not gonna mess with that because this is how it was back in chapter 3, so I'm content with it. This is for how the snow influences the cliff, how it looks on the cliff. So okay, I like that. So as you can see, if I let me put this in sunlight, the snow has made the cliffs look different. And messing with these values, I can achieve some very interesting results. So I'm making the values more extreme, and that's starting to look a bit more how they do it nowadays. You can see the tree has also changed to reflect that the snow is on top of it. I'm gonna skip a little bit ahead. I want my cliffs over here to be darker because they're higher up. So I'm going to cliff darkening, and I'm going to change the offset to 0 for a second. Okay, 500, 1000. 2000, 5000. I'm starting to see something. I'm going to make the contrast 0 for now. I want to see if I can find the line. Oh, there it is. So this is using world space to determine where the cliff should start to get dark. So oh yeah, you can invert it if you want. By invert it, I mean that you can make it so it's darker starting at the bottom, and then it gets lighter. As you can see, this cliff is dark, and then it gets lighter here. You can do that if you want. I like that. That's nice. Also, another value that you can change is the ocean height, which is really important for blending with your water. Let's go to cliff biome color. Now, this should not be here. This will be fixed in the release version, don't worry. Okay, so I'm gonna change. If I had biomes to show you now, I don't really have, so this is going to be for showcase purposes. Biome, biome, follow biomes, and what you can see is that it changes the color of the cliffs depending on where they are with the biomask. So, oh, that's over there. you can see it. It changes quite a lot. So you can make your own kind of cliff colors for certain biomes. Now these are already looking kind of nice. Don't worry about the grass blades. You already know how to fix that if you watched the first tutorial. I'm just setting these values, and then I'm gonna paste them into material function. By the way, if you want to do that, just hover over a value, and then it's gonna tell you where the function is. You can see it at the very end of the file path. That's the function I want to modify later on. I'm gonna keep that on actually. I don't want to change the... Actually, maybe I do want to change the base cliff color. I'm gonna turn this on, and by default, it's going to be making it lighter. I wanna see if I really like that or not. I think I want to add a tint to it. Maybe like kind of red. Maybe not. Hard to make this look right. That's too saturated. You can do it, but I prefer the original look, so in my case, I'm not going to. I recommend doing this, especially if you're using the default Artemis textures, because they are really dark for some reason. So let me remember what is the... Oh, this changes how it blends into the grass. So that is a lot. I can favor the tree, or I can favor the grass. This favors the grass, obviously, and the lower it goes, it favors the cliffs or the tree. And this is going to increase the contrast, so that's smoother, that's higher contrast. I'm gonna keep it at 1.5. Okay, I like that. There it is. Cliff mask multiplier. There we go, that's why I can favor the cliffs. Okay, I like that. I'm gonna make that 125. Just slightly more. And then for the grass blades, I want higher contrast, so I'm gonna go here and increase this 5. I think 3 is nice. Yes, yeah, I like 3. I like 3. Okay. So cliff darkening, I already messed with. Cliffs arid. I don't know if I want to have any arid cliffs in this map, but I'm going to show you the arid cliffs. You can have basically your own cliff layer. As you can see, it's an entirely different layer. And if you want to go further, you can... I'm gonna put it here, and you're going to find out why very soon. So here's my new desert cliff. But what if I want it to be ice? So you can turn this on, and now it uses these icy cliffs, which are pretty nice if you're making like, I don't know, a biome inspired by chapter 1's frozen cliff biomes. So you can do that. In my case, I'm not going to, but be aware. The option is there. There's a bunch of parameters that I'm just not going to use because I couldn't possibly make an environment that uses every single one. But you can use only the ones that you need. That's really what you should do, actually. We have farm flower and heather. This is used for when you're far away from the flowers. Let me show you. Okay, so as you can see, there's flowers there, but when I go far away, they disappear. However, there's like paint over there, so it kind of looks like they're still hit there. It's a pretty good trick to make it look like the flowers are still there, even though they're not. And with this, you can change the color of that. Now that you can mess with this to make it so the cliff has more trees spawning on it. So, for example, I can make this 2 times, and now the mask extends. It extends. It might not be obvious, but you can see that the fact that it changes around means that it is doing something. Now the cliff grass foliage influence is basically how much does the grass dares to go into the cliff. So, for example, if I make this 0, you can see it like starts going way too into the cliff. If I make this -1, grass just does not show up. So you need to like go kind of into a nice value, because as you can see, it's hard to achieve a nice balance. Actually, I think the default might be the perfect value for this. I'm gonna do this little here just to swap, like, check it a little bit. Also, my 3 is not matching my cliff properly, so I'm gonna fix that real quick, since I can't just do that without much tutorial. Should be the default 3, and then I want to grab my values from cliff darkening here. Excellent. And now, okay, so I put it in my darkening values, and the 3 does go dark, but it still doesn't quite match the color of my landscape. So I'm going to change the color myself. See if we can just grab the color from here. Okay, that's in the right direction. Just make it lighter. Let's saturate it. Where's it going? Up here? Oh, it's perfect. Back here, foliage masks, we went over that. Default layer. You probably will not ever use these, so don't worry about them. This is the average grass color. So, for example, if I want this to be, I want the grass to be overall darker. Sorry, it's dividing, so you want to make it actually lighter. So yeah, you can see I can make it really dark. More grass settings where we can change the detail UVs. So if I hide the static meshes, you can very quickly see what this is doing. I can also use high contrast grass, which is going to make my grass have higher contrast, and it actually shows me a new category where I can mess with these values to make the contrast higher. So I can make it like that, which is kind of getting closer to that newer, like more modern look that they go for. That is really noisy, but you can do it if you want to. I don't recommend it. You can do it. Grass foliage. This is an important value because you might stumble into issues. Now, as you can see, there's grass blades here right now. But if I were to make this 10,000, for example, you're going to see, where did my grass blades go? So this like creates a line. Let's see if we can, there we go. There's a line now around my landscape that says, past this height, we are not gonna make any more grass blades. This is useful for some scenarios. I kept it in. It was in the rep material. I just kept it in because I do think it's valuable. But if you're not seeing your grass blades, it might be because that value is too high for your landscape. This controls how the grass blades spawn on other layers. So for example, let's go to the gravel. If I make this 0, it's going to go further in. And if I make this 0.9, they're going to go further back. And for later configs, now this is the exciting part, I think, because we get to do a bunch of texture swapping. So I'm going to start off with the gravel, actually. If I want to make a gravel that looks like the chapter 6 gravel, I'm gonna start with Asteria mud for the base texture, and then here Asteria mud, then Asteria mud, and for the detail, I don't believe we have Hermes gravel, so I'm gonna go with Helios gravel, and then Helios gravel, and I can modify the values of my gravel in a second. That already looks very similar. First of all, I want to hide the meshes because I want to look at the blending into the grass. Go 5 and then -5. So it might not be immediately obvious what has changed. So focus on how the gravel blends with the grass. I'm going to turn this parameters off. See how the edges are way like more defined. That's essentially what we've done. And I think I want to change the noise on this. So give me 1 second. So what the noise is doing is, look at this, okay? So if I make this 0, you can see it changed dramatically. That's because this is the base texture for the gravel. This is like the texture that's at the at like the base, the normal, and then we add detail onto it. What detail are we adding? We're adding this detail. So with this, we can modify how intense, how much of that detail there is. So the newer sand kind of looks the exact same. Oh, actually, I'm gonna go back. Do we have a stereo sand maybe? I think they used the same in chapter 2. I'm going to give it as the chapter 2 sand, but you can change it. I didn't like it. There's another parameter over here where you can change the that is the wrong value. Actually, where is it? Sand. Ah, here it is. The sand distortion. So if I make this 1, it's going to get really ugly. As you can see, it is. As you can see, this distorts the sand for like up to avoid tiling and have some more variety. Default is 0.5. It might be too much, and I'm going to make it 25 because I do like the effect. Now for my tree, I want to use the chapter 6 tree to blend into my cliffs. So Hermes tree. I think it uses the Asteria one. Asteria tree. There we go. Asteria tree. Asteria tree. Okay. Now you might be thinking that my tree has like disappear. Oh no, this one does work. Maybe with the Harris tree, which I know has issues. So you might do this and you might think it's gone. What happened to it? Now that's just because the three alpha values are different on this one, on this texture. Let me explain to you what I mean by that. Look at the alpha values. One of these is way more intense, so that's why I can barely see it, if at all. I can increase this though, so I want to find here. Foundationals 3, height, the max 5. There we go, it's back now. It's 3 color here, so let's see. How does it look if I make all of these 1? Okay, that actually fixes what I was worried about. Chapter 7 does have one, yep. So, what is this? Why is this here? Artemis grass edge slope. Oh, right. This is for the grass edge. As you can see, if I make this 10, oh sorry, 100, it goes further in. I'm gonna leave this at the default. I don't really like that effect too much, so I'm gonna leave it just the way it was. I like how my snow looks. I don't think I really want to change anything about it. Maybe I want to make the sparkles be more intense. So let's see, sparkle emissive mod. I like that. It's more glittery now. And we're almost done. BSD, no, we don't use it in the landscape. And we got to this part where we can control the grass colors. Now I'm going to try to make my greatest attempt at making something like the chapter 6 grass. So I'm just going to look up. That's actually kind of good for what I might want to achieve. So I'm gonna make this more yellow-ish. Okay, I like that. I'll keep that. I'm gonna stop there, and then I'm going to start copying all of these values that I just modified to their original spot. So, for example, the cliff textures. You can see what function they belong to right there. It says MM for Artemis cliff. So what I'd have to do is just look up in the SOMNi folder, Artemis cliff. There it is. It's the same one. And then it says Artemis cliff A diffuse. I do Control F, Artemis cliff A. And I found them. They were right here. So I want to use this texture. I just put this in here. This texture here. So now that I've moved all of my values, applied all of my values, modified values into the original, I have my grass plates now properly following the color of my grass below them. Now, I picked a pretty early color, but we're going to move past that for now. We're just going to move on, because I'm going to show you how to recreate like the grass plates from newer chapters, because they are quite chunky, you could say. So first of all, going to find the grass blade material. Going to go here into materials. You find it's chugging along now. It's not cooperating very much. And I'm going to find this, the mask texture. I'm just going to enter here, and then select chunky grass, apply, and then I'm going to go to the foliage groups. I'm going to find standard grass. I'm going to look at the size here, scale. I want this to be like 1:25 by 1.5, so like max 1.5 and the minimum is 1:25. The scale can be starting at 2 and then up to 2.5, and then I'm just going to copy this to my other grass blade, which is right here, because there's two of them. Watch out for that. Don't forget to modify both. Let's say actually I want this one to be just taller, so I'm going to make this here 5 and then 2. Just keep it the same, like 2.5. This is always going to be guaranteed to be taller grass. And then I can change my other things here. So I'm going to apply this, I'm going to apply this, I'm going to check back, and look at that. The grass plates are now really chunky. They are very big. And they are kind of ugly because of my grass color, so let me fix that real quick because I don't like them. Okay, I have gotten my grass plates to not look absolutely gross anymore, which is nice. And this is how my new landscape has ended up looking. It's kind of inspired by the newer chapters because it's noisier. That was my main guideline here. And you can see my grass plates are way taller, way chunkier, and they blend into... They seep into the other layers far more because of their size. Now, we can enable BSD on them. I'm going to enable BSD on them real quick so you can see how they look. Okay, it might just be this. Indeed. Watch out for your stuff trying to add LODs because it's going to make your stuff not look that good. I'm going to recheck on all of my VST textures because it just forced an LOD level onto it, which makes it look inaccurate. This is how far you can push the landscape to look completely different. But I hope this was helpful. I don't think there's anything else for me to cover. Go crazy with the material. I want to see what people make with it. And before I go, I'm going to show you one last thing that is kind of bothering me on a personal level. Is how far in the grass blades are going into other layers. It's quite simple to fix, actually. All I'm going to do is using this over here. I'm going to copy this setup, but I'm going to invert it. So what do I mean by that? I'm going to make the weight way stronger on these layers. So now when I apply, my grass blades should be a bit more cautious with seeping into other layers. There we go. That's better. It's not perfect by any means, as you can see, but that is definitely way better. So yeah, that should be everything. Have fun with the material. Show me what you did make with it. I'm sure you can make some pretty crazy stuff. And that's it from me. Good luck and goodbye. And as always, if I have anything, if I got anything wrong, I'll just leave a pinned comment.